All right, gonna do some paint modification to my rifles here, right? So I've got these two guys. I'm pretty happy with the color. You've got the wear from just usage, right? Adds a lot of nice character. When I'm painting these, I'm not trying to be super meticulous. So when I'm like covering up the lens, there has this little shape from where the tape is, but you see like wear and tear on the back of the grip and all that adds character. So I really don't want to disturb that. I don't want to blue tape everything again, right? Which is the lenses and the logo and where I have my witness mark. So, but I do want to add some color to it, right? The season's changing and we're getting a little bit darker in general, right? More dark browns, a little bit of blacks. There's really no black in nature, right? So this is the thing I'm going to talk about. It's controversial, right? Is there's no black in nature. However, shadows are just a lack of light, and light is just what you see as far as what's reflected and what's absorbed. So with that being said, what you're going to see more in nature is a very, very dark blue, or a very dark version of whatever color it is. You're not going to see an outright black. I mean, it's very rare in nature. You'll see things that look like black, but it's not truly like black, right? So this is outside of my garage, right? And so while you don't see anything obviously blue other than that crappy birdhouse that's falling apart there, there's nothing like blue. So there's not the shadows that mean that there's going to be like a blue, like a navy blue or that kind of blue. What you're looking at is a tone or a hue. What we can do is we can add a blue, but then kind of blend it in a little bit, and that provides your darkest tone, right? I feel like these have, ignoring, like the tape, the grip tape, and the flashlight, and the parts that are unpainted, those are like dark spots, but they're not really part of the camo pattern. This one has got a little bit more variety as far as the dark brown and some of the lighter spots. This one is a little bit more neutral. And what I wanted to do is add, and I do this seasonally, I wanted to add a few more colors to have a bit more contrast, right? And so what I want to do is, how can I paint these rifles or add paint to them without actually painting over any of the wear and tear or any of the having to tape up anything, right? So what I'm going to do, which the technique that I used on this was, I would spray, right? And then I would use some paper towel just to dab. And this is where you see like these blends and whatnot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try this, and I'm not sure how it's going to work out. I've got two colors here, which is a Krylon matte ink blue, and I've got one of my dark browns, right? So between these two, I'm going to create a dark color. How am I going to do this without painting directly on the rifle with the spray paint? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little pile of paint here somewhere on the cardboard, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab off of that and do very controlled spots on the rifle. And so I'm going to try and do that, see how that works, and then if it looks like shit, well, I guess I'm stuck with it, right, till next season when I add some more lighter colors. And when it comes to springtime, what I'll do is I'll start doing the same thing, but starting with a lighter green, maybe even a light gray here and there, just to show the highlights off the flowers and off the plants that are blooming and whatnot. So right now around here we have a lot of browns, a lot of dark greens, and some really tonally dark greens, right? Some like the holly bush and pine trees, and they're kind of a rich green. The trees, are combinations of grays and browns, right? So this is where you can put in your grays. So maybe you can do a touch of gray, but your highlights are really non-existent other than where light hits. And we're not trying to create those kinds of highlights like a painting. We're trying to do more of like, so we don't want like the gloss off the holly tree. We want more of like just the lighter parts to give a contrast. We're trying to break up the shape. And so in the springtime, we have flowers, we have these lighter dabs of color that you can mix in there. And then in the fall, which is a short period of time, you have those oranges and reds you can blend in. If you want to even do it seasonally, I don't. I generally do like a warm weather and cold weather and have them a bit more generic. So let's take a look at the painting, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, so as far as the process, right, I'm gonna do a couple of dabs. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of blue, right? I'm trying to get it kind of heavy here. So it's a pretty bright blue. And then I'm gonna get some brown in here. And try to get some kind of blend of this, right? Let's see where we can get some kind of color here. So kind of a dark blue, dark brown, right? Let's get a little bit of brown back on there. Right, and then we'll do a little blue again. Right, so we're getting that kind of blend, right? We're trying to do a darker brown with a blue hue to it, right? And so we kind of have this. It looks almost like black, right? Like a black, and that's kind of what we're going for, because we don't want to actually use black. So let's just touch the rifle a little bit, see how it goes. So I got a little bit of rust there. Right, and then we'll do on one side, and then we'll let it dry a little bit, right? There's some happy little smudges, right? And then we're kind of doing it, you know, every little bit, every so often. So really, see, it's not really super intense, but it adds a little bit of contrast, right? All right, so we got that. All right, so we're gonna build it some more, right? And then I'm gonna dab and keep playing with this. All right, so I don't want to move my wear and tear too much, so. Gotta make sure I don't hit the lens. Get the top up here, right? Hit this corner. All right, so added some kind of globs, right? All right, do a little more. Work around my stuff here. The rust there, look at that rust. Doesn't matter. All right, cool. And I feel like that's done. See, it darkened up the rifle overall, added a little bit more contrast, right? So what I'll do before I paint the other side is I will hold the rifle up and kind of compare it to the background, right? This is, you know, where I live, you know, there's a lot of woods and stuff, but it's not the same kind of area. But overall, the plants are the same. Where I shoot at a lot has a lot more tans and whatnot, and what I really wanted to just darken it overall. So, we'll let this dry. Should be pretty quick because the temperature's good and the paint's on, they're really thin. And then we'll compare it to each side. All right, so I just want to show really quick before I stick it out, you know, tonally, right? Look at the difference here, right? Much lighter. This is more of a spring, summertime kind of vibe, right? And then this is more of a, we've got this kind of darker vibe to it. So let's stick it out by some trees and see what it looks like. Maybe I'll even add some spots of gray in there. Let's see. All right, so obviously we can kind of see it. It's a little bit lighter, right? So I'm gonna flip it to the other side and see how it looks. All right, see, adding the little darks does make it blend in a little bit better. So I think it's just those high contrast is what it needed to get it prepared for the winter time. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the other side, and then I'll move on to the rifle. Got the other side here, right? So I got a lot more wear and tear. We want to protect like where I've done the open decals, the citizen arms upper, right? This is a Palmetto State lower. So, and then I've got the polishing here from obviously rubbing against my body, right? This is where a lot of the wear and tear is from gripping and hitting my body. So we'll do the same thing as before. Brown, little blue, right? And then what I've done is refolded my paper and try to get it a new spot, right, on the paper, nice clean spot, because the paint is already dried. All right, so do a little bit of right here, top edge, right here. Not trying to get too much of my beautiful wear and tear which naturally occurred here. So my chin is worn off that, right? Oh, we hit this a little bit just to darken that up a little bit. Not that this matters. I probably should paint this whole thing, but I'm not going to do that right now. All right. Obviously, I don't do the grip, right? This is a very nice rubber feel, and so I don't like painting on this one. Some of the other style, like the BCM, and if it was the OG, like A1, A2 style grips, I would paint those. But I think I want to hit it just a hair more, right? Just because we have a lot of open surface here, right? So just again here, here, and along the front here. Gotta think about the different angles. On the top here, and I think that's good. Here. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. So again, we saw how the contrast works. Another thing about when to do this, right? When's a good time to paint is if you're lucky and you get a nice warm day in the winter. You don't want it too humid. That's a big thing, is the humidity. It can be a little colder. It's okay. I've painted plenty of times in the cold. But this daylight, this kind of golden hour, about 2 hours before the sun goes down, is a perfect time to get a flat, even light. In that way, you can see how like your paint is going to look. So it's getting too dark, you start losing, you know, what it looks like. And of course, it always looks a little different on camera, but I feel like on this this iPhone I'm using to film, it looks pretty good. I use my Pixel for photos, and I use this iPhone for the video. It's a little bit better quality. So let's do the next rifle, and then we'll take some final pictures and call it a day. All right, so we got my M4 clone here, right? And this one's got some pretty good contrast. However, this lower was painted separately, and then I got the stock that I traded, so that's a little bit different. I want to add some darkness to these to kind of blend it in with this and get some of this barrel a little bit. We'll flip it over. Otherwise, I think this one is already out the gate better contrast. I add more brown to this one. So let's try it and see how it looks on this guy. All right, we got our mixing spot here. I'm gonna try to pick up some of this. Get that good kind of dark color. Now we're gonna try to hit this a few times. All right, here we go on this side. Let's see what we can do here. A little bit lighter here. So now I get this paint going here. The beauty of Rust-Oleum painting is, of course, You kind of control the colors and patterns. It does not, you know, it does wear away, right? But you can come up with some cool things. If you have like an artsy background like I do or whatever, you like this kind of thing, this is fun to do. And then you can always just get rid of it, right? If you don't like it. The beauty is that this all comes off. So I'm gonna hit this up, try to break up the outline on this. This green light's my Surefire. These are like really nice for cheap. All right, so hit a couple spots here. And, I'm not, you know, I haven't painted this yet, so I don't know if I will, but I think I'm pretty happy here. Yeah, good. All right, balance that out a little bit, right? Balance that out a little bit, added that extra little touch of contrast. With, again, it's a blue and a brown mix, giving it kind of like not quite a black, but similar to black, right? So it serves the same purpose. The goal being to add some contrast, and I'll put some pictures here. I'll put some pictures here at the end, so that way we can kind of see. I didn't take any before pictures, but I do have the comparison I showed earlier. All right, so we see that the M4 clone has a bit more contrast, lighter contrast, but you know, not too bad, right? This is up close. We'll do a shot from further back and see if we can see any difference. All right, so I moved back, you know, maybe like 5 yards, and you can see that it's already harder to see. Again, that's the goal with these, is to make sure that they're harder to see from, you know, a little bit further away, right? So breaking up the outline, you know, it's going to be different from up close. But anyway, if you have any questions, throw them down below. Be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching, guys.